Can Clint Eastwood work his Oscar magic on a musical? You're watching Beyond the Trailers review of Jersey Boys.
I would love to introduce you to a new discovery of mine, Frankie Valli.
I heard them all, but I never heard a voice like Frankie Valli's. I know I need to write for this voice.
Frankie, the world is gonna hear that voice.
You want me to produce your songs?
Find a name and a sound, and then we can make something happen.
Listen, we got something for you, all right?
Sherry. Set up the 8-track. We're gonna double Frankie's voice. It's gonna explode right off the radio.
To be fair, though, Clint Eastwood seems to have lost his Oscar touch, so he's just as much hoping to get it back as Jersey Boys is hoping to utilize it. See, about a decade ago, as Eastwood was beginning to transition to a career fully behind the camera, he won back-to-back Oscars for a number of actors. Sean Penn won Best Actor and Tim Robbins Best Supporting Actor for Mystic River, and then the next year, Hilary Swank won Best Actress and Morgan Freeman Best Supporting Actor for $1 Million Baby. In fact, Eastwood himself won Best Picture and Best Director for $1 Million Baby, after having just been nominated in both categories for Mystic River as well. Suddenly, Eastwood was an Oscar darling and a potential shortcut for anyone else who had their eye on the gold. Angelina Jolie signed on for The Changeling, Matt Damon for Invictus, Leonardo DiCaprio for J. Edgar. Yet Eastwood was only able to deliver nominations, no wins, and for DiCaprio, Bupkis. Plus, Eastwood's box office numbers have also seen better days. So what better way to reinvigorate his career and his Oscar standing than with a project that can boast plenty of its own gold, Tony Gold. Yes, Jersey Boys won 4 Tony Awards back in 2006, including Best Musical, Outstanding Leading Actor in a Musical for John Lloyd Young, and Outstanding Feature Actor in a Musical for Christian Hoff. Both men originated their roles, and John Lloyd Young reprises his role as Frankie Valli here in the film. But Hoff has been replaced by Vincent Piazza, best known to audiences for his work on HBO's Boardwalk Empire. Yes, Jersey Boys the movie lacks a star. The best it has to offer is Christopher Walken in a small supporting role. But the musical is supposed to be the star, one of the few recent hits that Broadway has been able to produce. Where's our The Book of Mormon movie? And if you watch the Tonys this year, I'm sure you caught Eastwood's appearance, graciously presenting 2 Tonys in an effort to get into the good graces of the theater community. But the buzz for Jersey Boys the movie has been almost non-existent, and while it was a safe bet for New York City tourists who wanted to include a night on the Great White Way in their vacation plans, a casual trip to the local movie theater is a different story, especially since the golden oldies aren't so golden anymore when it comes to mainstream culture.
Yet another movie falls victim to bad advertising. This movie is much better than advertised. And speaking of advertising, when the first trailer came out, I said this looked like Goodfellas the musical. And I was right. And in fact, there's a direct connection to Goodfellas in this movie, in this real true life story that I don't want to spoil, but it's surprising, funny, and interesting. And this movie has a lot of those moments. However, I think that one of the hurdles for this film is that people feel they've seen it before. And in many ways you have. This is your standard, musical period bio. But there's one aspect to this film that is truly unique, and I think it makes it stand out from the rest. And that's that it's the most honest portrayal I've seen yet of what it's like to work in the entertainment business. And I think that Frankie Valli should get a lot of credit for being so brutally honest and sharing the credit and the blame for both his career and his personal life. And perhaps it's because of what happened to him that he wanted to be so brutally honest. And I don't want to give that away as well, but it's quite the roller coaster of a life. And I think that's another thing that makes the film very compelling. But when I talk about honesty and how the entertainment business is portrayed, so often in these bios, either a group or a singular person is portrayed as this talent which is undeniable, that they are destined for fame, that everybody else is drawn to them like moths to a flame, and their job is just to facilitate this individual's genius. And that once they make it, which is overnight, the only hurdle left is their personal demons. And Jersey Boys doesn't do that. It gives you the honest truth about how it's a constant struggle, about how it's important to rely on people both on stage and behind the scenes. Hollywood careers are a group effort, and so I think it's very admirable that this film is so honest about that. The highs and lows, and as I said, the struggle that never ends. Now, as for the film itself, of course, obviously, the source material is phenomenal. Tony-winning musical, both the script and the music, because it's the Four Seasons, is really, really strong. And I would say that Clint Eastwood and his cast don't get in the way of it, but unfortunately they don't elevate it either, which I think is another thing that's holding this this property back as a film. It's not, I think Clint Eastwood has a little bit of a coldness to him aesthetically, and I don't think it serves the material very well here. And the actors are not bad. They're very good, but they're not great. Again, you know, the material is elevating them instead of vice versa. Now, there are two standouts. Eric Bergen as the songwriter of the group. He's actually from the musical. He played that role, I believe, in Las Vegas for a while, and he did some other things. He's very good in it. I can see why Clint Eastwood brought him up to the film. Of course, John Lloyd Young, you know, originated this role of Frankie Valli, and he continues it here. He just signed with a talent agency in Hollywood, but he's good, but he's not spectacular. It's not a star-making turn. A star is not born in John Lloyd Young, I think, here. And Vincent Piazza, also, you know, as good as he is on Boardwalk Empire, he's good, but he's not great. So Eric Bergen, he was very good as the songwriter, but not so much because of any of the acting he did, more so because it's so unusual to see that kind of look, that kind of you know, person go into the acting, to go into showbiz. And I think Armie Hammer should be very worried because Eric Bergen has a very similar look to him, and Armie Hammer's box office track record is pretty poor. So if The Man from U.N.C.L.E. doesn't do well, where Armie Hammer stars opposite Henry Cavill, I think that this actor Eric Bergen has a real shot at jumping in there. And again, you know, I see another talent that maybe one of the comic book companies that are so desperate for talent, they should be maybe looking into, because he has like kind of like that comic book, you know, straight arrow kind of look that sometimes is necessary and should be utilized. So I thought he was very good. But again, it's mostly because of his look. And then the other person who stood out was Mike Doyle as Bob Crewe, who was kind of like, you know, their producer in some ways. I'm not familiar with the music business that much, and this isn't a movie that more familiarizes it, you know, to you. But I believe he was the producer of many of their songs. And what was so interesting about this role is not only because Doyle did a good job at the performance, but this was an openly gay character in a genre, the period music bio, that usually doesn't showcase openly gay characters. They're not just openly gay, but are respectfully portrayed as businessmen who have something to bring to the table, who are experts, which is very much the case in the entertainment industry. So I thought that was great that was included here, and that, again, it was another honest portrayal. Usually, you know, there's one line when everyone's like, oh, I get it, that character's gay. That's not how it was handled here. He was openly gay, and while it got some laughs, you know, it wasn't at the character's expense, because the character was having fun himself. I thought he did a very nice job. So, should you see Jersey Boys? I would say that if you're a fan of this music, yes. If you're a fan of this type of movie, yes. And also, here's the big one. If you're at all considering a career in the entertainment industry, yes, you should definitely see this movie to give yourself a better idea of what's in store for you. So that's my review of Jersey Boys. I'd be very curious to hear what you guys think of it if you've seen it. Also, how does it compare to the Broadway show? I never got a chance to see the Broadway show, but I'm glad I got to see this movie. And I was also happy that, you know, one of my big problems with Broadway these days is that the sets are so bare, and they really rely on, you know, LED screens to create these environments and lighting, but I like sets. And this movie, though, did have a set. It didn't feel like it was just on a sound stage or, you know, it was like the impression of a movie. It was a movie. And again, as I said, the script and the songs are just phenomenal. All right, so that's my review of Jersey Boys. Again, please share your thoughts down below. Thank you for tuning in, and you can check out some more episodes right now.